We shall.
All righty. Minutes from the April 9th meeting. Any changes or corrections needed? If not, someone make a motion. Dave, thank you. Second. Second for Joe. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Budget report is attached. Pretty straightforward this month. The second payment from Vireo, the balance of the administrative fee was received and deposited. We had some interest earnings. They're shown there. Under expenses, basically the salary and payroll taxes, the legal fees for care for their work on the Vireo Health Project, and that payment came out of the revenue that we received from Vireo up top. And that payment was authorized at the last meeting, and a monthly payment to Betsy for her ongoing work on the IDA website. And that's it for this month. Questions? None? Motion to, Greg, thank you. I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Audit committee, monthly bank reconciliation. Sue, you had the pleasure this month.
I reviewed everything and everything was in order and I signed off.
Very good, thank you. CRG report, Kent.
Thank you. You've got the report. I'll just add a couple things to what's on the paper. We did have an active month for loans last month, 2 from the countywide loan fund and 1 from the Gloversville fund. We were happy to get our approval for the $300,000 for the micro enterprise grant program. So Joe will be having a meeting.
Yes.
Just FYI, in prior years, sometimes if we've been able to use that amount up and we've got more in the wings, we can get an additional 300,000. So we'll see how that goes. But if you're not familiar with it, it's usually $10,000 to $25,000 grants to small businesses to create jobs, and it usually gets used for equipment or inventory. We're still waiting on an announcement for our EPA grant. Work on brownfield sites, continue to work on brownfield sites, made a lot of progress there. We applied for a $250,000 grant from National Grid, which was approved, which is great, and it'll be used for street lighting and some infrastructure for one of the DRI projects in Gloversville. We had our meeting with Delaware Engineering for the fast track shovel ready site designation for the 30A property, and that designation is important because in order to get marketing assistance with New York State resources, you need that designation for advanced manufacturing sites. Continue to work with the DRI award winners to get their financing in order and get ready. We're hoping we'll have a number of shovels hitting the ground this summer with those projects. So it should start to finally see more of that coming to life. We had a nice, very successful Brownfields Developer Summit. Had more participation than the prior year, which is always great. And hopefully, as we get these brownfields ready, we'll have more people to take a look at them and see them. And then finally, if you're familiar with the New York State Nanotech sites map, there was a big gap between like Ithaca and Albany. And I think we've got 3 or 4 in there now, and we're working to get a couple more in there. So that gap should be pretty well filled in the next couple of months. Any questions?
Best guess at what DRI projects actually may go this year?
Honestly, couldn't say off the top of my head. I just know Jen has said a number of them. I think most of them actually should start to move forward. So,
And there's a comment, just so you're aware, and I'm sure Jim has shared this with Ron, that last year we re-looked at our pilot programs to make them more attractive for 3 primary: tourism, brownfield redevelopment, and revitalization of former buildings. So we tried to make those more attractive to try to incent investors to come and look at those projects.
oh, good. And you said Ron is aware.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean.
Right. Thanks for.
Very good. Thanks, Cap.
Yep.
See you in June. I'll see you in June. Excited for you.
Under old business, Nexus Renewables, just, next month, is when their current option, on the lands it desires, expires. You've, contacted them to ask if they want to have that renewed. And if they do, that'll be an agenda item, for next month. For Win Stanley, part of our option agreement with them, they're supposed to give us two kind of marketing status reports during the course of the year. Scott and I participated in that a couple of weeks ago. And from Win Stanley basically saying nothing's in the pipeline, as we all know, things are difficult right now with interest rates and inflation, many projects basically on hold. We got into the discussion with Adam regarding this board's interest in trying to get more power out of Triumph. Talked to them about what we're exploring in terms of this interconnect study, which led to a discussion about also the other option of a cogeneration plant. Adam expressed an interest in taking a look at that. So he's actually directed his construction team to take a look at what it may cost to build a cogeneration or a fuel cell at Tryon as an alternative way of getting more power there. His team is starting to take a look at that. I know they contacted you regarding how much gas is available. So I'm curious to see what that is going to come back to show. And if we do proceed with this interconnect study and it comes back that that's feasible and cogeneration may be feasible, we might be able to apply for a grant to do one or the other or both. So that was a positive outcome of that meeting, that Win Stanley is going to take a look at that as an option. Moving on, T-bills. T-bill number 3 is coming up for renewal in a couple of days. The current rates are shown on your agenda. They're very similar between the 3-month up to the 12-month. T-bill rates are still a little bit better than current CD rates. So looking for a discussion as to what term you wish to renew this particular T-bill for. Joe?
Seeing they are so close, I mean, we always try to do the highest one, which would be the 6 months for 5.11, but I think we should continue to, like we did before, try to renew it for a year. And unless there was something glaring that was so much better, I would make a recommendation to renew it at the 12-month at 5.06. Because that's a heck of a rate. It's gone up. And
Yeah.
5.11 for 6 months. We're going to be
5.06 to 5.11,
Right.
not a substantial difference, by for sure.
Is this the big one?
No, 4 and 5 is.
Okay.
right.
I agree with Joe. I was feeling the 12-month also.
Joe, would you like to put that in the form of a motion?
Yes, I would like to make a motion to renew T-bill number 2.
3.
No, 3.
I mean 3, I'm sorry. For yes,
12
3,
months.
I'm sorry, for 12 months at the 5.06 rate. T-bill rate.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Crossroads Park Housing, as you know, we put up for sale that 25-acre tract of land in the park. Howard Hanna has finalized marketing materials. There's a sign up inside the park showing the property. It also has a code on it that you can scan, QR code that someone can scan, and it pulls up the listing. Good idea.
That was Dave.
That was Dave.
Was it?
Was it?
You're welcome.
I thought it was you. I thought it was you. Am I- Right? Maybe it was you. Yeah.
Wasn't me.
The the site's been shown to 3 different entities right now, which is good.
Yep.
One is an actual housing developer. And that particular developer seems to have a pretty strong interest in it. They met with the mayor of Burnsville to discuss the site and the need for housing. So keeping our fingers crossed that ends up materializing into something more official. So, but City of Blairsville, DPW, kudos to them. They did a nice job going out there, sprucing up Kathy's ways to the best of we can to make it look as presentable as possible. Next, development strategy. MRB Group is working on it. As we know, there's going to be 3 main components: economic development, housing, and tourism. Survey has been distributed to a bunch of community stakeholders to obtain input on county SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Did you folks receive it?
Yes.
Okay. Ask that all of you take a few minutes to complete that, if you would, please. And now there's going to be a community stakeholder meeting sometime in June that you'll all be invited to, where there will be face-to-face meetings to talk about the strategy, the SWOT, and we'll also be looking for community input regarding projects and initiatives to include into the strategy. Okay. Scott, anything to add from your end regarding
Sums it up.
Okay.
That email came from them.
from MRB? Yes.
RRB.
I wonder if it got caught by spam at work.
Okay. So you haven't seen it yet?
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it came directly from them.
All right.
Okay.
Nobody for it, Mike.
Yeah, we
Yeah, I
did.
was gonna say somebody's forwarded.
I can send it to
Okay, moving on to new business. Something that kind of came to our attention when we're not a member of the Chamber of Commerce. And thought that might be an appropriate thing for this organization to do, is to join the chamber as a member. The membership fee for the IDA would be about $300. I'm suggesting that we take that up and become a member of the Fulton.
I'll make the motion.
Dave, okay, thank you.
second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Anyone opposed? Will do. Leasing lands at Tryon, R&R Farms, which has done this over the last number of years, desires to again lease approximately 55 acres of land at Tryon to grow corn. They've offered, as we have in the past, $30 an acre to do so. And with the understanding that if something happens out of Tryon, and a project proceeded before they harvested their crops, they understand that that would be their loss. But given that there's nothing in the pipeline right now, reasonably confident that wouldn't be an issue. So, I'm asking for a motion to authorize the chairman to sign a lease with them for those 55 acres.
Do we have to let Adam know about this?
Yes,
He knows.
he's aware. Oh, yeah.
Good.
Yep.
Make the motion then.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Mike, thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Anyone opposed? Okay, became aware of a bill that has been introduced in both the state senate and the assembly that would consolidate the 109 individual IDAs in New York State into 10 regional IDAs. The act's sponsoring memo indicates that the reason for this bill is because IDA applicants shop around amongst IDAs with overlapping jurisdiction in an attempt to come up with the best deal. We don't experience that here because we're the only game in town. But in some counties, there may be multiple IDAs within the county. For example, Amsterdam has its own IDA. There's a City of Amsterdam IDA and the county IDA. And the bill is basically saying people can go to that county and and kind of have, compete against each other, the two IDAs trying to come up with the best deal. Doesn't really apply to us. This regional IDA would have 15 members. And that membership would be distributed to the 6 counties in that region based upon population. Given Fulton County's population, we would have 2 members on it out of the 15. Okay, Oneida County, which is the biggest county, would have 8 members. And I just don't see how 2 members are going to represent the interests of Fulton County better compared to the 7 members that we have here at this particular board.
It's building a pretty big disparity and opportunity.
So, recommending that we the board, go on record opposing this, and that we authorize the chairman to, send letters to our assemblyman and, senator, acknowledging this board's opposition to these bills.
Has there been any discussion with other IDAs and their feeling about this?
Yes, this all came up because we received similar, notice from Saratoga, Board of Supervisors who've gone on record opposing this.
And Fulton County passed a resolution.
And Fulton County Board of
Oh, right.
Supervisors
Yeah.
did the same, correct? They just happened to meet before us, so,
Mhm.
okay?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. All right, last but not least, board training. Public benefit corporations, what are they? That's what you are, okay? Unlike the CRG and the Chamber of Commerce that are not-for-profit organizations, the IDAs are a public benefit corporation in New York State. It's a slight difference. Public benefit corporations can only be created by a special act of the New York State Legislature. In 1970, the New York State Legislature adopted a special act creating the IDA. Public boards of directors of public benefit corporations have to be appointed by elected officials. Right? You are appointed by elected officials of that being the elected Board of Supervisors. As you know, this board receives no funding from the county. All of our revenues are generated from administrative fees and lot sales. And it just so happens that this IDA, we only have 2 part-time staff people, compared to other organizations who have a lot of full-time staff. So what's interesting is when you flip the page, we are viewed in the same light as these 53 other public benefit corporations in New York State. So we're looked at as the same as the Long Island Railroad Company, the New York State Power Authority, and the New York State Higher Education Services Corporation, and a bunch of others.
13.
Was that?
13 is a popular one.
That's River Black River.
Yeah. Yes. It's just interesting that, we're viewed in the same light as these. Some of these are multi-billion-dollar a year organizations.
Yeah, the racing one.
Yeah, yes, okay. So again, for what that's worth, just the little fundamental difference between an IDA and not-for-profit corporations. So, okay. For what that's worth. And yeah, because when you read about, quite often you read about the New York State's debt, and there's all these subsidiaries have all this debt. Well, that's what they're referring to as all these organizations. These organizations have hundreds of billions of dollars of debt, but it's not debt that's included in the New York State our budget. This is separate debt from these organizations, and so again, for what that's worth, thought we'd have that quick discussion. That's all I have for open session today. Does anyone else have something wants to bring up? If that's the case, I would ask that we go into an executive session for the reasons cited on page 7 of the agenda. Greg, thank you.
I'll second.
Dave,
Thanks. Good day, everybody.
Take care, guys. You can.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We're going to executive at 8:22.
Say something before the
Sure.
executive
Oh,
starts.
sure.
Town of Johnstown's doing a master plan. We haven't had one in 20 years and it's way overdue. And since you guys are highly educated on the county and everything else, others can chime in and say what they want to, how they feel about the town and what
Okay.
they'd like to see. You can go to our website, which is townjohnston.org. It's 7 simple questions. All of you, please go fill out. We're at 33 people so far for the survey. It's been a week. And I'm depressed over it because I want at least 200 at the minimum of 500 people chiming in for 6,600 residents in the town. So when they bellyache about, we don't do this or that,
Mhm.
it's their own fault. So
Okay,
we're putting it out. So if you guys would like to spread the.
they do.
Please do.
Good. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff, thank you.
And that is at 9:51. Is there any other business to conduct?
I gotta go.
If not, does someone make a motion?
I make a motion to close.
Is there a second?
I gotta use the restroom.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're done at 9:52 AM. So